Hello everyone, CrystalFissure's here and welcome to a discussion about Crash Bandicoot, the N-Sane Trilogy for PlayStation 4. The trailer recently released, not many days ago, and I think it would be good if we sort of discussed the good and bad, just my general thoughts of it, but not just the trailer, but rather the stuff that we are going to be seeing afterwards. Because if you ask me, that is probably almost just as important, really. In fact, the trailer is probably the least important thing that I took away from the game, from all the new information. So, judging by what I said, like in the other one where I was in Finland, you probably think, oh, he's gonna be negative, he's gonna dislike, he's gonna be like Ratchet 5. To be honest, I actually got quite a good impression, not from the trailer, but from the gameplay. Now, we'll first sort of discuss the trailer. The trailer, it's good, in terms of a trailer, it's cool. I like how it showed the transitions between the old levels and the new levels. That was cool, but something about it, whether it was the camera angles, whether it was the footage they used, something about it seemed a bit clunky. Like it didn't quite work to the level that I think that it did in the gameplay. So when I actually saw gameplay, but like pure 19 minutes of footage, I'll put stuff in the sidebar and give credit to everyone whose footage I used. But with that footage, with the gameplay, you can see that it really actually does feel like Crash, and that's the one thing that everyone was super worried about, including me. I was thinking, if they're going to redo this, is it going to be another Tony Hawk sort of situation where people like Robomoto, God bless them, they do a good job in some aspects, but something about it just doesn't feel right. It feels sort of off. Whereas the vibe I got from Crash, and this was obviously Crash 1 footage that they showed, the gameplay, I was really impressed. And in fact, Crash 1 is sort of known for its to be honest, average controls, not having the analog stick, being sort of restricted in that regard, and not properly feeling like, Crash 2 was obviously sort of the one where they really got the controls down pat. Now, if we're going to be getting all three controls, all sort of universal without there's no crouch and stuff like that in the first one, but if it's going to feel the same way, not have that awkwardness, that kind of glitchiness even of Crash 1 in certain capacities, then I'm really looking forward to playing it. The trailer showed some levels and all the levels look good. There's something about it, and there was something about some of the levels, particularly the bolder ones, that kind of looked a bit too bright. This is a bit of a nitpick, but I think they're not done in terms of polishing. I think shading still needs a bit of work, but all that kind of stuff is, considering it's a 2017 Q whatever the hell release date, it's not done yet. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff they've got to fix, and I think that a lot of the time when you see these trailers, it looks better when it's out. In some cases, it looks worse because they're fooling you, but in terms of pure gameplay, first level and stuff like that looked good. Heavy Machinery or whatever level it was that they had, that one looked pretty cool. What I really liked, I loved the bonus rounds, and I particularly enjoyed the Brio bonus round in one of those levels. That looked really cool. And to be honest, I think that they're saving the best for next. Crash 3, I like the game, but Crash 2 is my favorite. I think that if they nail the Crash 2 levels, that's it. It's an instant buy for me. And that brings me to the price, which we found out was $40. Now, we may have known that before, but $40 is, and Ratchet 5, my friend, he disagrees with this, but I feel like without coming across as a bit of a snob, if you are a gamer, if you are someone that has a job, or you have, your parents will buy things for Christmas and all that kind of stuff, $40 is an incredibly valuable, healthy cost, to the point where, one, it's not ripping off the consumer, and two, it's not ripping off the game developers, because that's one thing that we always have to consider, is when people think like, oh, this game should be 20 bucks, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, Activision, for the record, I still do not like Activision. I will stress that to the point where they'll probably never ever give me any sponsorships if I, got well off. If I unlisted leafed, overnight, then I probably wouldn't get any deals from Activision, that's for sure. I do not like their practices and the way that they've, we'll talk about Spyro later, but the way they've just completely pillaged that. Disgusting, but whatever. Anyway, point is that $40 will, be enough to the point where they'll make a profit, hopefully. Vicarious Visions will be rewarded, and that's what you want to see, because they are a good developer. You know, I'm not a fan of Skylanders. I don't like the way they've done that, but you know, their environments always look cool. I feel like if you could put some cool gameplay with those environments and, like, you know, exploration, I feel like they've got that down pat. And you know, I think that overall there's something to be said about what they're doing. I think that, you know, in terms of the gameplay, looking at Crash as well, running was incredibly accurate. Like, some people had like side-by-side footage, and it looked straight up like Crash. It looked like Crash. It didn't look like, so they tried to do it. And one thing that people have sort of nitpicked about the design is the hair follicles and stuff like that. And the thing is that Crash was basically an untextured model. He was pretty much one texture of like a light orange on the back there, and that's pretty much it. Pants blue, shoes red. When you have to texture something like that, it does look weird. It does look sort of off. There's something about it almost that's a bit uncanny. But I think that overall, they've done a very, very good job on that. And to be honest, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they will do, you know, with it as they sort of continue to refine the model and stuff like that. I also thought the music was pretty good. You know, I would love it to be Josh Mansell coming back, but what can you do? I mean, there's not much you can do there. I think that, whoa, moving. Yeah, I think that, you know, it would be nice to have him, but so far, you know, I didn't think it was a travesty. I know some people were pretty upset about it, but I think that there's a lot of better tracks that you can sort of look at that hopefully will hold up and sound really good as well. But overall, my impressions were very positive, and what this means for Spyro, it makes me think that if this is successful, Spyro will get it. And look, I agree with the whole thing. People say, aren't HD remasters sort of pointless? Like, just play the old games, you lazy shits. Like, just get over it. And I do agree that for the most part. Look, if I had to pick a new Crash game or remasters, I would pick a new Crash game in that style. But alas, that is not what's happened. I recognize that this is what they want to do. This is how they're going to make money. And as much as I would love to see, you know, a new Crash and Spyro game, if, you know, these are fun, good. You know, like, you got a new generation of people playing the games, and that is a great thing. And, you know, as much as the original art is, you know, will be forever superior in terms of their original vision, I don't have a problem with kids or, you know, new generation getting into it on a new console. It's just the way it is. It's just the way business works. You have to recognize that you can still hate Activision and big business and all those kind of practices and the death of the video game industry in terms of actual value, you know, and creativity. You can definitely still be like that, but you still also have to recognize that there needs to be money made for developers and, you know, companies and stuff like that. It's just the way it is. But Crash, it gives a big tick from me. Trailer, if you're not sold on the trailer, check out the gameplay. I think the best is to come. We've got features as well, like time trials. That's excellent. Time trials now in the first 3 games. The bonus sections, you'll see, like, there's actually like a warp pad for them in Crash 1, which is interesting. That's something they've added. And they said there's more features they are going to be adding soon in the future, probably like trophies and stuff, but hopefully there's some other good stuff. Oh, and cutscenes, of course, and I'm running out of battery, that's why I'm rushing. But cutscenes looked excellent. The extra additional bit of context that they provided as well. I'm looking forward to the warp room in Crash 2 and some of the Cortex stuff. You know, Lex Lang is a good Cortex. I mean, he's not quite as good as the original Cortex. Like, you know, everyone has a soft spot for Clancy Brown, Mr. Krabs, but keep your horns on, Spyro. But you know, overall, like, in terms of the cutscenes and that kind of vibe I got, I was really happy with it, and I'm looking forward to some additional stuff. Hopefully some additional content, maybe some teasers for a true Crash 4 or like another Crash, you know, like, I think that there's a lot of potential here. That's what we gotta look at. You know, we can all be negative and we can all say, fuck this shit. But you know what? If you are negative about it and still providing it attention, then you're gonna still contribute to its sales anyway, I think. Whereas if you sort of are positive about it like this, I think that I just think it's the best way to be. Like, I'm a negative guy. Just ask me about WWE or something like that. You know, I don't shit on it all day or something that I really don't like. But when it comes to this, I feel like either I could force myself to really dislike it and really nitpick and shit on everything about it, or I could have a positive outlook like this and still recognize that, you know, there are things that need to be improved, like shading and a few little things like that. But I think that with the right mindset, I think we can look at this and go, hey, you got a new Crash, you know, they're going to make money, and maybe we'll get more in the future. It's better than nothing, I'll say that. It's always better than nothing.
Bunch of high spots and I don't know, It's just not doing it for me.